answering some random question as well as. This is a drawing of what I use in my old fallen apart grimoire that I created once. And it is when I call all the 7 Olympic spirits in one go. I've always done that I call upon all the planetary spirits at one go and have a gentle bonding time with them and really connect to them. Not only asking what they can do for me, I don't go that way, but what can I do for them? So this one is also one that I use for charging items in the book. And then we have my beloved Planisphere. And I use star maps. You have the Shem angels there, you have the zodiacal signs, so I sometimes use star maps directly to charge items on for the specific angel. I'm like that. I build up a trust with the angels and then I try different things. Does this work? Does that work? And once you have a connection to them and you do your work and you show up, and that's when they start to teach you things through what you do. So they can inspire me and so on, and change this up and you can do that and so on. And that's how the magic evolves. And then I had these questions about what feelings does the angels understand. The angels, since they are celestial, they don't really feel jealousy, envy, lust or fear. Just to take some examples. Since they don't have them, they know that people suffer from them, but they don't really feel them. It is just like physical pain. They haven't had physical pain like we do. And angels were created before man. And then we had, of course, the fallen Nephilim as well. And the lower lesser spirits, they know like man's weaknesses and they can use it for their own goals in a way. Since they know what we want and they know how to trigger our lust and desires for different thing, like we want money or we want experiences or travel, and whatever it is, they can use it to draw us in, and we feel so comfortable with having all those things in our lives. And there is just like that feeling that you are thirsty and you drink and you drink and you drink, but you never get rid of the thirst. That could be a way to describe it a little bit. And with the celestial spirit, you consecrate an item once, and you don't need any energy work to do with angels, since they bring down the celestial energy to the thing, and once it's consecrated, it's sacred. So that's why you have like the middle pillar or the Merkaba mysticism. And they are not always used, not in pure angelical magic, they are not always used. And then we have the tradition that I come from, and this is the Finnish roots. And there were one Finnish Orthodox church and there were one Finnish Catholic church after the Protestants came along. So that meant that the priests were friends. So, and then there were Jews, of course. Like many know that there were some traditions in Judaism that came from Estonia and so on, and those areas. And that is what I practice, that you just simply sit down, lean back, and you are in the darkness. And you just are there. And you might feel like you are descending downwards, or sometimes you can be pulled up by, but you just accept that you are there, no visualization. And so you don't do that you move your energy up and shoot it through your crown, since in the Eastern mysticism you didn't visualize, it was done for Westerners, so that you have to visualize all the energy flowing up and bursting out your crown, that wasn't done. And that was one of the things. And then why visualization was so important in the old days especially. And if you look at, let's say, Denmark and Sweden, the first law that everybody should learn to read came 1917. That's a little bit more than 100 years ago. So people couldn't read a map. They lived in a forest, and they had to learn how to visualize when somebody described a route for them to go through a forest, what it looked like. Their lives depended on it, that they could visualize it correctly. So that meant that there was this split between practices, that what you might call as folklore and witchcraft, they were very good at visualization, while those who came from the academic and more occult circles, they knew how to read, they could see the letters, the Enochian letters or the Hebrew alphabet, and work with the sigils of the Shem and so on, since they could read the texts and they could all read. And I know that for a fact, that regular witches and shamans, they didn't have beeswax, nor did regular people. It was only the aristocracy who could afford beeswax. That was a luxury thing. And back in the day, you picked up a rock or a stone. You didn't have fancy crystals. And crystals, maybe amethyst or some of the beautiful ones, were seen as gems. But regular crystals that are so, like we have stones that naturally contain quartz here. So you can use that. But you didn't have clear quartz and smoky quartz and all these specific quartzes unless you lived in an area with where that stone occurred, where you had these natural stones. So, and then in the later centuries, of course, there was this mix-up. They wanted more power, and they liked the sigils, and they copied the sigils and the drawings, and the text was messed up. So not everything is really accurate, what you find in old manuscripts that have prevailed. And so it's fascinating. And those who wrote the manuscripts, they were all at least clergy level, if we say at the priesthood. They knew the common daily prayers, and they changed every day. They knew the priestly rites, they knew the seasonal rites, they knew everything like that, since they were, if you were able to read, you had some part in the church. So they knew exactly that day is that prayer to be said, and that day is when we use that seasonal prayer, and so on. So the knowledge in what you add in between the words of the grimoires were big, and that was why I did the video about the apps, that you have apps for common prayers, free apps. And you can find that in many traditions they change prayers daily, and let's say you might have up to 5 prayers a day, depending if it's morning, midday or afternoon, and so on. And I looked up, and there are Egyptian and all kinds of religious traditions there for free prayer apps, and go in and look for whatever religion you are interested in, and download the app and look how you can fit it into the manuscripts or grimoires you're working with. So this was all for now, and here were just some different things of charging items. And I love the stars, and I love the Shem, as you all know, and the angels. And have a magical, magical day. Bye for now.